Hi, welcome. Thank you for joining. Shout out to Elijah. Shout out to... Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Neon. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Carlin. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Amelia. Shout out to Hanya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Markellius. Shout out to Hanny. Shout out to Katrina. Shout out to Rush. Welcome. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Casey. Shout out to Katrina. You're welcome. Shout out to Rianne. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to... Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Liz Lear. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to pronounce your name and I don't want to mess it up, so I'll write it down. Shout out to Mina. Shout out to Nolan. Shout out to Grace. Shout out to Mackenzie. Shout out to Nayeli. Shout out to Julian. Shout out to Tay. Shout out to Tiloy. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Sal. Shout out to Bark. Whoops, I missed the last part. Shout out to Bark KJ. There we go. Shout out to Arthur. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Martin. Welcome everyone. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Piper. Shout out to Rafaela. Shout out to Walker. Shout out to Brayley. Shout out to Kaylani. Shout out to Yunche. Shout out to Arizona. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Nelly. Shout out to Drew. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Noah. Shout out to Brayden. Shout out to Aubrey. Shout out to Kenna. Shout out to Jacob. Shout out to Beto. Shout out to Chelsea. Shout out to Blake. Shout out to Quavion. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Joseph. Shout out to Emily. Shout out to Philip. Oh, it's 2 L's. There we go. Shout out to Nayeli. Shout out to Dave. Shout out to Haley. Shout out to Josiah. Shout out to Caleb. Shout out to Sanvi. Oh no, this marker dried up. Give me 1 second. Shout out to Sanvi. Shout out to Finn. Shout out to Evie. Shout out to Bobby. Shout out to Sammy. Shout out to Corinne. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Ellie. Shout out to Finley. Shout out to Sahana. Shout out to Kimberly. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Justin. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Madison. Shout out to Ivan. Shout out to Eli. Shout out to Alex. Shout out to Wheels. Shout out to Bethany. Shout out to Araya. Thank you for subscribing. Or Aria. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Juliet. Shout out to Gabby. Shout out to JC. Shout out to Net. Shout out to Joseph. Shout out to Edith. Shout out to Freddie. Shout out to Carson. Shout out to Elori. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Harley. Shout out to Felix. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Benjamin. Shout out to Joey. Shout out to Victoria. Shout out to Tasman. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Josiah. Shout out to Callie. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Janessa. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Justin. Shout out to Ethan. Thank you for your patience. Shout out to Justin. Shout out to Ethan. Shout out to Elena. Shout out to Athena. Shout out to Taylor. Shout out to Alexa. Shout out to James. Shout out to Penelope. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Shauna. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Ant-Man. Thank you so much. Thank you for your kind words. Shout out to Gracie. Shout out to Adam. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Andrew. Shout out to Vianney. Shout out to these people. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. On to the next page. I live stream every day around the same time as this. I hope you can support. Also, thank you everyone for your patience. I know I don't write the fastest, and sometimes I'm slow at writing. Here's my channel, NessDIYcorner, if you want to check it out. Shout out to Evangeline. Shout out to Harper. Shout out to Sandra. Shout out to Natalia. Shout out to Naomi. Shout out to Maya. Shout out to Sarai. Shout out to Riker. Shout out to Whistle. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Dalen. Shout out to Brielle. Shout out to Billy Bob Joe. Shout out to Isaac. Shout out to Aliva. Shout out to Mac. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Marcos. Shout out to Marsha. Shout out to Maya. Shout out to Veronica. Shout out to Luna. Shout out to Jackson. Shout out to Cheryl. Shout out to Cora, sorry. Shout out to Eleanor. Shout out to Ella. Shout out to Noah. Shout out to Ellie. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Courtney. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Maddie. Shout out to Alex. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Marsha. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Antonio. Shout out to Suemi. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Layla. Shout out to Stephanie. Shout out to Elisa. Shout out to Rosie. Shout out to Deanna. Thank you for subscribing. Or Deanna. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Rain. Shout out to Faya. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Kamori. Shout out to Felix. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Casey. Shout out to Brinley. Shout out to Ivy. Shout out to Casey. Shout out to Suemi, I got you. Shout out to Dylan. Shout out to Neanderthal. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Clara. Shout out to Coco. Shout out to Zachary. Shout out to Jimmy. Shout out to Sinai. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Annabelle. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Nova. Shout out to Shauna. Shout out to Dino. Shout out to Cheryl. Shout out to Maura. Shout out to Sana. Shout out to Ian. Shout out to Abigail. Shout out to Amana. Shout out to Dakota. Shout out to Raha. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Mackenzie. Shout out to Sarvinos. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Kona. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Paisley. Shout out to Avia. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Leilani. Shout out to Dino Shelley. Shout out to Samantha. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Huxley. Shout out to Connie. Shout out to Vinny. Shout out to Kylie. Sarvinos, I got you. Shout out to Khaleesi. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Raisa. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Sela. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Dora. Shout out to Kali. Shout out to Moriah. Shout out to Tatino. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Gatatino. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Valley Sensi. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Nevaeh. Shout out to Devin. Shout out to Carolina. Shout out to Jonathan. Shout out to Mafina. Shout out to Alex. Shout out to Queen. Shout out to Rachel. Shout out to Anna Vey. Shout out to Diana. Shout out to Nelly. Shout out to Rose. Shout out to Ziva. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Crowny. Shout out to La Boo Boo Fan. Shout out to Safia. Shout out to Iceland. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Ezekiel. Shout out to Sima. Shout out to Giovanni. Shout out to Uwu. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the live stream. I do shout outs on the live stream, and I also post other content. Excuse me. I post other content on my YouTube shorts. My channel is NessDIYcorner. Thank you so much for being here. Also, thank you for your patience. I know I don't write the fastest, so I appreciate you taking the time to write your name. Thank you so much. I do greeting card tutorials like this. If you are interested, please check out my channel. I do holiday cards, greeting cards, birthday cards. I also do things like this as well, tutorials. If you're interested, please check out my channel. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Noah Wright. Thank you so much. Shout out to Noah Wright. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Kaylee. Shout out to Valentina. Shout out to Chantel. Shout out to Joy. Shout out to Sumaya. Shout out to Safia. Shout out to Iris. Shout out to Amar. Shout out to Miklo. Shout out to Jackson. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Aubriana. Shout out to Carly. Happy birthday. Shout out to Nate. Shout out to Sigma. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Connie. Shout out to Benjamin. Shout out to Amber. Shout out to Sadie. Shout out to Shelby. Shout out to Kaylee. Shout out to Jackson. Shout out to Riley. Shout out to Caleb. Shout out to Leslie. Oops, I messed up. There we go. Joey, I got you. Shout out to Gabriella. Shout out to Yoseri. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Jade. Shout out to Riley. Shout out to Vianney. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Daniela. Shout out to Manon. Shout out to Susanna. Shout out to Gunner. Shout out to Anaya. Shout out to Mason. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Kaylee. Shout out to Jacob. Shout out to Abigail. Shout out to Sophie. Shout out to Timea. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Caitlin. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to Forrest. Shout out to Kensley. Shout out to Brooks. Shout out to Aaliyah. To Dragon Lord. Shout out to Carolyn. Shout out to Paisley. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Laura Raj. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Viviana, the best forever. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Abby. Shout out to Anna Claire. Shout out to Odalis. Shout out to Alina. Shout out to Maria. Shout out to Ione. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Susanna. Shout out to Alec. Shout out to Elisiana. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Alexis. Shout out to Oscar. Shout out to Yunche. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Nosfor. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Abigail. Shout out to Megan. Shout out to Brazil. Shout out to Tara, or Tara, sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Julian. Shout out to Layla. Shout out to Arian. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Myla. Shout out to Ollie. Shout out to Jade. Shout out to Alexia. Shout out to Zoel. Shout out to Paisley. Shout out to Ezra. Shout out to Antoinette. Shout out to Violet. Shout out to Shane. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Janessa. Shout out to Asher. Shout out to Pibble. Shout out to Brianna. Shout out to Caroline. Caroline? I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Brianna. Oh, I already put Brianna. Oops. Shout out to Anna. Shout out to Icon. Shout out to Whitney. Shout out to Gigi. Shout out to Reese. Shout out to Maya. Shout out to Angie. Shout out to Maya. Already put Maya. Oops. Shout out to Eliam. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Jada. Shout out to Miranda. Shout out to Jennifer. Shout out to Scarlett. Oops. Shout out to Zayden. Shout out to Quavion. Shout out to these people. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the live stream. On to the next page. Please like and... Oh, I just... I'm so sorry. It's been a long day. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Also, thank you for taking the time to write your name. I know I don't write the fastest, so I appreciate you being here. Thank you, thank you. My channel is NessDIYcorner. I hope you can check it out. I post other content on YouTube Shorts. I do greeting cards. I do tutorials on birthday cards, holiday cards as well. If you're interested, I hope you can also check out my channel. I would truly appreciate it. Shout out to Sadie Ann. Shout out to Penelope. Shout out to Victoria. Shout out to Zaria. Shout out to Tylen. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Sharon. Thank you. Shout out to Neymar. Shout out to Shara or Shara. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Nicole. Shout out to Safari. Shout out to Kimberly. Shout out to Alice. Shout out to Bree. Shout out to Kaylin. Whoops, I think I messed up. Kaylin, can you put your name again? Oh, there. Oh, no, I didn't mess up. I thought I did. Shout out to Liliana. Shout out to Eileen. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Edgardo. Shout out to Clyde. Shout out to Patrick. Shout out to Althea. Shout out to Wisal. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Jane. Shout out to Maven. Shout out to Autumn. Shout out to Landon. Shout out to Nico. Shout out to Cecilia. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Let me try to push this a little bit more higher, just so you guys can see the names. Shout out to Anna. Shout out to Deborah. Shout out to Trent. Shout out to Sasha. Oopsie. There we go. Shout out to Rebecca. Shout out to Tate. Shout out to Bofu. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Captain Evan. Shout out to Isaac. Shout out to Yukta. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Luz. Shout out to Belle. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Havana. Shout out to Idea. Shout out to Caleb. Shout out to Mahi. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Faith. Shout out to Audrey. Shout out to sorry. Shout out to Manon. Shout out to Grace. Shout out to Kayla. Shout out to Leo. Shout out to Nashawn. Shout out to Arthur. Shout out to Ashley. Shout out to Peyton. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Gianna. Shout out to Damaris. Shout out to Joel. Shout out to Lara Raj. Shout out to Ashley. Shout out to Sahara. Shout out to James. Shout out to Araya. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Tashayla. Shout out to Alex. Shout out to Kerrigan. Shout out to Peyton. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Mila. Shout out to Nova. Shout out to Dinosa. Shout out to Bri. Shout out to Taryn. Shout out to Alexa. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Jose. Shout out to Sage. Shout out to Venezuela. Shout out to Yvonne. Shout out to Jack. Shout out to Arlen. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Cirilla. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Nova, I got you. Shout out to Daniela. Shout out to Federico Gomez. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Federico Gomez. Shout out to Angela. Shout out to Damon. Shout out to Emiliano. Shout out to Ernesto. Shout out to Juan. Shout out to Mackenzie. Shout out to Fiorella. Shout out to Tate. Shout out to Carson. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Carson. Shout out to Lauren. Shout out to Yunche. Shout out to Carson. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Doreen. Shout out to Mila. Shout out to Madison. Shout out to Carson. Thank you so much. Thank you, Carson. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Marisol. Excuse me. Shout out to Ray. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Hope. Shout out to Ness. Shout out to Dom. Shout out to Madison. Shout out to Tyrell. Shout out to Carson. Thank you so much. Shout out to Vivian. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Please like and subscribe. I live stream every day around the same time as this. I do shout outs. My channel is NessDIYcorner. I hope you can check it out as well. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. Also, thank you for taking the time to write your name. Shout out to Carson. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Michaela. Shout out to Caitlin. Shout out to Cat's Eye. Shout out to Carson. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Kevin. Shout out to Diana. Shout out to oh, I already got Kevin. Shout out to Christopher. Shout out to Andrew. Shout out to Reese. Shout out to Tarzan. Shout out to Piper. Thank you. Shout out to Julia. Shout out to Autumn. Shout out to Presley. Shout out to Mabry. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Rima. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Carson. Shout out to Alexia. Shout out to Colette. Shout out to Yasmia. Shout out to Hermione. Oh my gosh, I said Hermione. I meant Harmony. I'm so sorry. Shout out to Sahesh. Shout out to Nico. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Mauro. Shout out to Malik. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Mr. Goose. Shout out to Eliza. Shout out to Tara. Shout out to Camille. Shout out to Lauren. Thank you. Shout out to Jinx. Shout out to Grant. Shout out to Annabelle. Shout out to Miles. Shout out to Piper. Shout out to Christy. Shout out to Matthias. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Malia. Shout out to Kaylee. Shout out to Steven. Shout out to Hawk. Shout out to Declan. Shout out to Madeline. Shout out to Kaylee. Shout out to Renaya. Or Renia, sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Brax. Shout out to Summer. Shout out to Carson. Shout out to Sandy. Shout out to Elena. Shout out to Jamel. Shout out to Kieran. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Kyra or Kira. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Isabella. Shout out to Oracle. Shout out to Javea. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Aiden. Shout out to Sunny. Shout out to Dea. Shout out to Andrea. Shout out to Amber. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Eli. Shout out to Javia. Shout out to Sana. Shout out to Yara. Shout out to Dalen. Shout out to Yazer. Yazer. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Adam. Shout out to Amy. Shout out to Julia. Shout out to Jaden. Shout out to Evelyn. Shout out to Grayson. Shout out to Maya. Shout out to Isaiah. Shout out to Brooke. Shout out to Kaylee. Shout out to Diala. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Yasna. Excuse me. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Eric. Shout out to Elliot. Shout out to Renaya. Shout out to Kennedy. Shout out to Hayden. Shout out to Jacob. Shout out to Lennon. Shout out to Rosie. Shout out to Mel. Shout out to Johnny. Shout out to Amari. Shout out to Lucia. Shout out to James. Shout out to Tatum. Shout out to Avani. Shout out to Matthew. Shout out to Camden. Shout out to Emerson. Shout out to Tarek. Shout out to Kaylin. Shout out to Amanda. Shout out to Hillary. Shout out to Cassidy. Shout out to Brenly. Shout out to Holly. Shout out to Nico. Shout out to Sana. Shout out to these people. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. On to the next page. Excuse me. I live stream every day around the same time as this. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Your support means the world to me, and I appreciate you taking the time to write your name. I know I'm not the fastest writer, so thank you so much for sticking around and taking the time to write your name. Thank you, thank you. My channel's NessDIYcorner. If you want to check out my channel, shout out to Colton. Shout out to Elise. Shout out to Aubrey. Shout out to Antonio Garcia. Thank you so much. Shout out to Antonio Garcia. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Jalen. Shout out to Camden. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Kalani. Shout out to Haley. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Gordy. Shout out to Alea. Shout out to Karina. Shout out to Aspen. Shout out to Addie. Shout out to Valentina. Shout out to Caleb. Shout out to Isaiah. Shout out to Samuel. Shout out to Deborah. Shout out to Nevaeh. Shout out to Jason. Shout out to Knox. Shout out to Cash. Shout out to Carmen. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Keenan. Shout out to Tashayla. Shout out to Sophia. That is so cute, that little clapping seal. Thank you so much. That was super cute. Shout out to Ayush Trilok. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Ayush Trilok. Shout out to Natalia. Shout out to Josiah. Shout out to Matthew. Shout out to Anna. Shout out to Tylen. Shout out to Logan. Shout out to Kaya. Shout out to Legend. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Heather. Shout out to Paisley. Shout out to Natalie. Shout out to Maria. Shout out to Ezria. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Blaze. Shout out to Dahlia. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Jasmine. Whoops. Jasmine. I'm gonna write your name again because I kind of messed up. Shout out to Daxton. Shout out to Bryn. Shout out to Kaylee. Shout out to Ty. Shout out to Aubrey. Shout out to Z4 Edits. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Z4 Edits. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Ashley. Shout out to Bristol. Shout out to Avery. Shout out to Z4 Edits. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Z4 Edits. Shout out to Aisleen. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Maddie. Shout out to Noelle. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Abdul. Whoops, I messed up. Shout out to Victoria. Shout out to Official Oreo VRYT. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Yvonne. Shout out to Zaylene. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Nora. Shout out to Mike Hunt. Shout out to Leslie. Shout out to Finley. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Kamaya. Shout out to Arya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Talia. Shout out to Lexi. Shout out to Cecia. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Sunny. Shout out to Aurora. Shout out to Xylin. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Aaliyah. Shout out to Drake. Shout out to Arsalan. Shout out to Jimena. Shout out to Lloyd. Shout out to Zola. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Shout out to Zola. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Zolaika. Shout out to Ezra. Shout out to Seja. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Caleb. Shout out to TJ. Shout out to Leo. Shout out to Sunny. Shout out to Legacy Games. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Legacy Games. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Clayton. Shout out to Jaredzi. Shout out to Ali. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Ritaj. Shout out to Abby. Shout out to Ayan. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Heaven. Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to Yara. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Steph. Shout out to Riley. Shout out to McKinley. Shout out to Marbella. Shout out to Pamela. Shout out to Jahali. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Noelle. Shout out to Olivia. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Sonia. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Declan. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Ariana. Shout out to Allison. Shout out to Venus. Shout out to Cambry. Shout out to Celine. Shout out to Yashua. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Damaris. Shout out to these people. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the live stream. I live stream every day around the same time as this. Also, check out my channel. My name's Ness. My channel is NessDIYcorner. I hope you can check it out. I post other content on YouTube Shorts. I do greeting card tutorials like this. Oops, there we go. I also do like birthday cards, holiday cards. If you're interested, I hope you can check out my channel. Thank you so much for taking the time to write your name. And thank you for your patience. I will see you all next time. Take care, everyone. Bye.